This would be my final dream recording because I had three interesting dreams this week. So this dream it starts off with a video game. I get this new video game that's like Baldur's Gate 3 for the PlayStation 5. Super cool. But this is like an adaptive video game, and so some sort of strange AI video game that changes the more that you play it. Having a really great time doing this. Um, while I'm doing this, my work is getting a little bit testy, and they keep on asking me to do extra stuff, which is very common. Work just tends to do that. So I'm playing the video game, just staying in my lane, staying away from doing too much, and I get these invitations to teach. I have a master's degree. It's in real life I do, and it's in writing fiction. And then my bachelor's degree is in nursing, which is in sciences. Then I have a liberal arts degree, and so I have a diverse college and a nursing associate's degree, and so I have a diverse college education. And sometimes in real life, people send me stuff to teach, but I have no interest in it because I want to prioritize my free time. And so in the dream, I'm very much the same. I'm just playing my video game, working as little as I have to, and I just want to be left alone. And I keep on getting these things. You got to teach, you got to teach, you got to teach. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. So then it changes, and it's like, well, you need to go back to high school. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I already graduated high school. I have several college degrees. Why do I need to do this? So I get kind of upset, but the pressures it's coming on. And as this is going on, the game is getting really interesting. It has these very almost like a virtual reality headset elements to it. And I decide that I just had enough. I'm just going to tune people out the best I can. I go to work, and then they don't let me go to work because my director, he tells me that I have to go back to high school. I'm like, crap. What's going on? And so I'm driving around town, and I'm still being obstinate because I don't want to go back to high school because I graduated a long time ago. And I see this new shopping mall that's been built underneath this whole area on the northeast side of town. I go in to look, and I see that it's a school. And this is where the dream kind of gets sci-fi elements. They have people from a planet in Warhammer called Nocturne, and they have a melochromatic disorder, and so their skin is like charcoal brown, and they have these glowing red eyes. Looks very alien and human and just interesting, but they're so friendly, and they're actually inviting me in and things. And what happens is that I find out that the reason why they're asking me to go back to high school is that from Warhammer 40K, the Imperium of Man has contacted and interacted with Earth, and they're recruiting people to do different things from Earth. And apparently the video game was a tester. It was for compatibility to see if you could become a space marine. And because I tinker with things, and because I'm also in healthcare and kind of a medic by trade, that it made me hyper compatible with the Salamanders. And they sent an envoy to get people back and to recruit them into the Salamanders. And apparently the Imperium of Man was this really bureaucracy with overwhelming red tape. And because of that red tape, they would only accept applicants if they were enrolled in high school. And so even though I'm at the time pushing 60, they, in my 50s, late 50s, they still thought I was a suitable candidate for genetic modification and that I would survive the process to be a superhuman. And so even at 60, but they could only get away with it if I was enrolled in high school. So I find it really interesting, and a lot of the people that I'm with have died. It's strangely in this dream, I'm kind of by myself. My brother was playing the game with me, and my son Andrew was off doing something else. I don't know where my wife or my daughter were. They were just not in the dream. And so I go ahead and I agree to sign up, and just for yucks. I actually meet Vulcan, the Primarch of the Salamanders, when I do. He calls me into the office, and he's acting like the principal. He explains the whole thing for me. He gives me this really warm handshake and says that he's glad that I'm aboard. And he has like a photo book, which is of like things that I've tinkered with in my library, and they've been doing all sorts of intel on me because apparently the game is giving intel, and they think I'm going to be a good fit for the Salamanders, and he comes off as like really goofy, but like really warm and like very approachable, embraceable, and so like he reminded me of like kind of Jack Black, kind of Chris Farley, but like a tinkerer. He just like a craftsman. So I go through this process, and I get genetically modified to become a superhuman, and I'm able to do things and not even pay attention. I get really good at it, and then I find out some things. I find out that there were some dark elements in regards to my recruitment, and one of them is that besides like the melochromatic disorder and these weird eyes that let you see in infrared and like the superhuman strength and stuff, that the Salamanders genetic line and genetic material that comes from Vulcan, it also makes you immortal. And the more that you bond to that genetic material, the more that you're like it, like the greater the affinity. And so I bonded so well that it made me immortal. It made me a perpetual. And so even if you killed me, I'd slowly knit myself back together. And across the cosmos, you can atomize me, and I'd reconstruct at some random place. They're usually places that coalesced around humanity. And then I realized that there was a bittersweet element to the recruitment plan, that I wasn't just recruited, and especially like way past the age, just because I was compatible. It was because that all these people that were immortals realized that if they didn't create their own version of humanity, that eventually there'd be a time when everyone died, and that they would be lonely, and the universe would just be them. And so I kind of see time filter by, and I see humanity go through all these ups and downs, and lots of wars, and lots of dying, and lots of coming back, and lots of doing things, and all the while there's like this deep sadness that the only thing that's going to be left are going to be salamanders, these superhuman space marines. And there comes a point where I remember I was walking on a desolate like place. It was like a moon, and I'm walking to go meet with another salamander, and I'm remembering people that were, and just sadly remembering who they were. The cool thing about like this genetic modification is that they didn't remove you from other people, and so you were able to interact with people and do things. And but it was terribly sad to know that you would go on when everything else didn't. And that was my dream about being recruited into the Salamanders, by forcing me to go back to high school.